Hey guys, it's your girl Coco Kinsey. If you're new, welcome to the channel. If you're not, welcome back. Thank you for being a part of the family. I'm already in the fields a little bit, as you can see in my eyes, but we're going to be talking about some heavy topics. So in all fairness, I never want to be a trigger for anybody. So ahead of time, we're going to be talking about that S word prevention. We're going to be talking about revenge porn. We're going to be talking about miscarriage, mental health hospitalization. Some topics can come up that can be heavy. So if that's something that you're not ready for, no judgment at all. Feel free to come back when you're ready. And if you are watching and you need to pause at any point, do whatever you need to do. The idea is to definitely just create a safe space for people to have conversation, to not feel judged, and to hopefully you can take away something from my story. And feel free to leave something about your story in the comments, because the whole idea of my channel is to uplift and connect with people and to find, places where you can feel encouraged. So let's get into it, guys. I planned on doing this video anyway in December because if you already follow me, then I've talked a little bit about just my mental health hospitalization. I've mentioned it but never gone in detail. So I intended on doing it to celebrate, 10 years from that and kind of where life is. But with the recent death of dancer, Ellen's DJ, So You Think You Can Dance dancer, father, husband, Stephen Twitch boss, and also the passing of someone I know personally who took their own life, more than celebrating, which I'm definitely grateful for the strides that I've made, I wanted to normalize. And then I'll give backstory of how I got to that point. But I wanted to normalize what mental health can look like, because there's such a stigma. And I know it sounds crazy in the time, it's 2022, but it's such a stigma around what mental health can look like. The first thing I saw when I saw Twitch passed, and I fell victim to it too, so again, it's no judgment, was automatically, oh my God, he was so happy, like something must be off, or what is, there's no way, or what, like everything seemed good. And I can tell you from the person who I know that took their own life, happy person. For myself, before I got hospitalized, really happy person. And I think a lot of times what happens is we carry that because we know that people know that we're the happy, positive people. And that's not always fake. So I don't want you to think that people are walking around in fakeness, but there is also a burden sometimes in it, because you are known or you're identified as the happy person, the person that when you walk into the room, you bring joy, and you're known to have fun and make light of things, to not be negative. When you feel or have those negative thoughts or feel burdened, you almost feel like you don't have a release, or you don't want to burden people because you're still walking in that positivity and thinking that if I keep this, if I put this on somebody, it's going to be too much. And you then find yourself in the trap of then starting to wear a mask, and it's just building up. And you mean well, because you don't want to inflict, what you're feeling on, or project what you're feeling onto somebody, but you need that help. Now, looking at my situation, as I reflect back now, I am so glad that I wound up getting pushed to the point of a breakdown in front of people, that I no longer could keep on the mask. And I think in looking back, it very well could have saved my life, because I don't know how long I would have been able to keep that mask on, because when you are always walking around in happiness and you're trying to hide it, when you're alone, all of it comes because you have no release. So, and I'm talking about being so sad that you don't even want to open the blinds. You just want to sit in darkness. Because you haven't been allowed to feel what you feel, that you suppress. So when you do have that alone time to feel, all of it can come crashing down at once. And so, I say that to also, obviously what we always hear, check on your strong friends, check on your happy friends, check on them. But I say this to the person struggling: don't be afraid. to talk to somebody. Don't be afraid to get help. Whether you're struggling with a mental illness and you need medication, or if something has triggered something and you don't have the words, you don't know the feelings. Because what I will tell you, and when I was pushed to the point of hospitalization, what I saw when I got through those doors was not the image of a hospital, of what you think of a mental hospital, where you think of the straitjackets and, people so out of control that they're spitting on people. Obviously that is real. It's not fake. There is a sector for that. But what I saw and who I met was a group of beautiful women from all walks of life. Executives, moms, students. I met all kind of women and lifelong friends, people who are everyday people you see around that you would have no idea. And I'm so glad that I got that experience, because it let me know that there are so many people out there like me who are, quote, normal. Because I think it's just become like this thing where it's so not normal to go and you don't have to necessarily be to the point of, needing hospitalization. But even therapy, there's such a stigma around it. And then you hear the cliches again. And I know people mean well when they're pushing, but actually seeing it through to go through to get whatever help you need. I got there, for anybody wondering, 2012 was an amazing year for me. It was the year I got married. It was coming off the heels of 2011, because my husband and I got married rather quickly. So it was a lot of highs, but it was a lot of lows. And I'm somebody who doesn't harbor, or that's maybe that's the mask of who I am. I don't know, but I try not to harbor on things. And in 2012, I found myself not able to move forward like I normally do. So I was pregnant a few times in 2012, all ending in miscarriage. But the first miscarriage, the first one, while I was pregnant, I had a case of revenge porn done to me. Now, that's a whole nother story in itself that I'm going to save for another day, because it has its own nuances and things to it. But it's not that nudity doesn't bother me. So if you know me, if you look on my Instagram, whichever, nudity is something that doesn't bother me. I think the human body in form is a beautiful thing, and it can be artistically done there, so. But as someone who was abused as a child, what that did to me was bring me back to that moment where I felt like something was taken from me yet again, without me having a say in it. Now, I mean, I try to make light of it, because if I was that size again, I might leak my own photos. But yeah, I just I really struggled with it, because I felt like, wow, why? I felt it was a cruelness of people, a cruelness in the world for somebody. Somebody again yet taking something from me against my will, without me having a say in it. Well, the same person who did this also wished death on my baby. Now, whether I do think that words have power, whether that was the reason or not, I mean, now looking back, I don't, think so much. But at the time, you couldn't tell me anything different, because literally a week later, I did miscarry. And coming from a point where everything was looking okay and great, I did. And so, but I tried to move forward from that. I tried to move forward from it and just, carry on like everything was okay. I did sit in my emotions a little bit, but I still wasn't okay. I wasn't okay. But I wasn't as broken as I became. So fast forward, we get married, all these wonderful things happen, and I get pregnant again, and I actually get pregnant on the day that, I find out I'm pregnant on the day that our daughter would have been born. And so for me, I know what fast, because it was like towards the end of the year. So just like those wondering. So it was like, yeah. But so I found out I'm pregnant again, and I found out on the day that our daughter would have been born. And so, of course, like I'm like everybody else, this is amazing. This is beautiful. There is no way anything can go wrong. How can this story be bad? I mean, even early on when I saw complications, I still thought there is no way that this baby is going to be taken, because it's a sign, obviously. Well, I miscarried again, guys. And the hard part of it was so many people. Everybody has opinions. Everybody is, well, you just need to push through and keep going. And of course that sounds good. But when I say this is being gentle with other people and recognizing that everybody can handle things differently. While some people may be able to go on and work, or staying busy may help you, that might not help the next person. And there is no judgment in whatever you need to do, but recognizing and giving people a space to deal with things how they need to deal with it. Because I felt forced, because I kept being told by people who, again, meant well, just keep going. That's how you get over it. And I did, and I kept trying to move forward, and I wasn't okay, and I kept being pushed, and I kept trying to push myself, because I thought that's what was the right thing, and it was not the right thing for me. And eventually I got pushed to a breaking point, to where I felt like, if this is it, if this is what it is, or if this is, then I must not belong in this space. This is too much. I could feel the weight of the world. I could, my miscarriage story is a whole nother story. I got a lot of layers to these stories, but it was a whole traumatic experience in itself that made it that much more traumatic. But I was not okay. I was not okay. I kept trying to work. I kept trying to push. And eventually I just completely snapped and broke. Now, while that was awful, but like I said in the early part of the video, the best thing that could have happened to me, and now looking back, I think it was very well something that prevented me from making a decision where I would no longer be here. Because I was forced to go. I was forced to go to the hospital, and I was upset somewhat at the time, a little bit, because if you don't want to, nobody wants to be forced, like, against your will. But I'm so grateful that somebody cared enough to about me to say, it was actually I snapped at work. I kept being told to push, and eventually I just had a full-on meltdown at work. And as it would be, that same day, I had an appointment to follow up just to make sure that my body was okay, make sure, I was okay with my doctor. And I am the type of person, I tried to play her. I went in there and I tried to say, I tried to say the right things. And she saw right through it. And she knew exactly what to say to get the reaction from me that she needed. Some people might think that, that nobody should be push provoked, but she didn't do it in such a way. I don't even know how to describe it, but my doctor was amazing. We had such an amazing relationship. And, when you need somebody to go, because she knew I wasn't going to go on my own, but she needed certain words to say to be able to get me, 5150, as some people say. And so she did. And like I said, I was angry and frustrated, but I'm so grateful that she cared enough about me to do it. Because I do think that it saved my life. And I just hope that other people can take away that you get help if you need it. If you are scared, talk to somebody. There's obviously lines, hotlines you can call. But fine, if it's a pastor, if it's a friend, if you want to email me, I just want to normalize it because, I'm a photographer, I'm a YouTuber, I'm a mom, I'm a homeschool mom. We are business owners. So I say all this to say that it's people who are, quote, normal, whatever normal is. But I say that just so people can have understanding that it's not just people walking around drooling on themselves, as that seems to be the idea. There are people who look like you, who work with you every day, who are struggling and scared to talk about it or scared to have those conversations because of what they think that you may think of them. So I say that to those struggling, don't be afraid to reach out. Don't be afraid to stop and get the help you need. For those who may not be struggling, but maybe you've been through something before, or maybe you're not struggling at all, allow people the space to feel comfortable enough to come to you without judgment, without being pushed to a place to tell them how they need to be. Just listen, be a listening ear. And if you find that they are a danger, you help them, stick with them, and get them the safety. And look for resources. And that's something we do. So if this is ultimately what I want on my channel always, is to uplift and have resources for people. So if you have something, I'm going to leave some resources in the description and also in the comments. And as you all see or have ideas or things that that can be helpful to somebody else, leave them in the comments, because sometimes people don't know. They don't know where to turn. So if you have some resources that you would like to share, feel free to leave them in the comments so we can all help each other. You don't know who's struggling. We're all in it together. You are not alone, okay? I swear to God, you're not alone. There's so much more that I could say, but I'm really just at a loss. I feel like it's somewhat accomplished that I got it out, but just take away, it's normal people, guys, who are struggling out here. So you don't have to struggle alone. You don't have to struggle to the brink of harm. I love you guys. So if you don't have nobody else to love on you, I love you. Reach out, click that button, guys. Make sure you're a part of the family. And I love you guys. And I hope to talk to you guys real soon in more positivity. Hopefully a little bit more uplifting. We're going to get happy, but check in with you guys soon.